great pleasure to welcome all of you to this most beautiful Web Talks Knowledge Series 6. Ladies and gentlemen, my wonderful friends, a big welcome on behalf of AsiaOne magazine and URS International Media. I only hope that all of you are home and safe. So ladies and gentlemen, as all of you know, that we continuously keep striving to give you wonderful and relevant topics that are very relevant to the current scenario, to the current economic conditions, and above all, to the current mindset, to the challenges that we are going through. After all, this kind of a challenge is very unprecedented. I mean, we've really not seen something like this kind of a threat, this kind of a crisis in the past. So ladies and gentlemen, yet again, we have something very exciting for you. We've very wisely chosen this topic depending on the current state of mind. Talking about challenges, all of us know the best way to deal with any kind of challenge and turn it into an opportunity is your state of mind, your perception. And that's exactly what we'll be talking about today. Yes, it's all the matter of perception, turning challenges into opportunities. And once again, we have some great minds and eminent personalities from across domains joining us to enrich our Web Talks Series 6. It's all a matter of perception, turning challenges into opportunities. And as all of us are very much aware that perception works on a triangle model. It's all about ethos, who I am, the credibility. It's also about pathos, which is the emotional state, and needless to mention logos, the logical mind. So let's delve a little more deeper into some great minds who've joined us on this beautiful panel with us. And here they are to give us a newer perception, a newer outlook to deal with our challenges, and also give us an uncanny ability to transform it all into great opportunities. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome, and let's get started. I'd now like to start by introducing our wonderful speakers who are here with us. How I wish I could actually request all of you to put your hands. I could hear you loud. I could feel the response, but nonetheless, jahan kahin bhi hai, make sure that you are with us. So stay tuned and keep clapping if you like something. So we have here with us Dr. Shahnaz Ahmed, Chairperson, Springdale High School. A very warm welcome, ma'am.
A very warm welcome to you too, Sangita. Lovely to see you.
Thank you, ma'am. We have here the very gorgeous and lovely Miss Celestia Chong, International Beauty Pageant winner and Director, Beauty the Concierge. A very warm and hearty welcome to you, Celestia. How are you doing today?
Yes, I'm good. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I love those pink headphones though, more color.
I borrowed it from my daughter. It's from my girls. So can you lend it to mommy for today so that I look a little bit more cute?
We also have here with us Mr. K. Prasad, CEO, Prasad Hospital and Founder-Socialight. Sir, I couldn't say hello to you, but thank you so much for joining us. A big hello to you. How are you doing this afternoon? So you need to unmute your mic.
So good afternoon, Sangita, and good afternoon, everyone else. Hope everyone's good and safe. Hello?
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much joining us here. And then we also have the very lovely Dr.Renuka David. She is Managing Director, Radiant Medical Services. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hi, good afternoon, Sangita. It's such a pleasure being here, and good afternoon to all my co-panelists. I'm really looking forward to a lovely session with all of you.
And how I could say, let's hear it a little more louder for Mr. Ajay Bansal. He is the Managing Director and CEO, DHI International. A very warm and hearty welcome, sir.
Good afternoon, Sangita. It is a great pleasure to be on this webinar, and I'm very proud to be a co-panelist with the other August gathering. It's a great pleasure, and I borrowed these headphones too from my daughter, by the way.
Next gen is far more, the millennials are far more digitally sound than us, I guess, right?
Exactly.
High five.
Exactly, high five.
Also, let me bring on the man with the world right behind him. We have Mr. Shezaan, Bhojani, CEO and co-founder, Design Cafe. Shezaan, I must say you have a lovely smile.
Thanks, Sangita. So do you, and so do so many of our panelists. It's great to be here. I'm just sorry I didn't wear my own pink headphones. I would have clashed with Celestia.
You should have done.
Also, I think it probably suits her a lot more than me. So glad to be here.
And with that, let me introduce you to Ms. Komal, co-founder, Karmasukom Edibles Nutrezy. A very warm and hearty welcome, Komal.
Thank you so much, Sangita. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all my panelists. I'm happy to be here. Looking forward to the discussion. Thank you.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. Yes, like I said, it's all a matter of perception, turning challenge into opportunity. And who better than to our wonderful doctor who, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, while she's joining us on this particular panel, we'd really like to say a big thank you to her because she's kind of shuffling between this webinar and she has to rush through a relief action that needs to be taking place. So I guess a big salute, kudos to all the front lines there. So ma'am, thank you so much. It really matters a lot for us for you to be here with us. Before I put the question to you, a little more on this relief thing that you were talking to us about. So what exactly is happening? Ma'am, can you hear me?
You're asking to who?
Yes, ma'am, I'm talking to you, Dr. Shahnaz.
To me. Okay. No, actually, I am not a doctor. I am an educationist. So from my school and from a group of people that we are there, I am also very much linked with one of the NGOs. So we are going on just distributing food to people, those who are eating less food. And that's what we are trying to do it. So we've been continuing doing it for the last 6-7 days. We are trying to distribute as much of food as we can give and just boosting up the courage of the people. That's very important because when you go and meet them and you talk to them, they're so poor. They have not been eating for so long. So just a little bit of empathy is very, very important for them, So we are trying to do that. I'll be again rushing around 1 o'clock where there'll be about 50 to 60 people waiting. And we'll just try to give them something to them. These are very small things that we are giving, but some kind of love, that is there. And that becomes more important. Yes?
And who are these people that you...
They're from the villages. They're from the villages, the people who have not worked for so many days, and some of them are orphans, some of them are widows. So it is very important that we just have a personal touch with them. We just cannot say that we are eating and you are not eating. So food as right now has become very important for them.
Absolutely. Wow, that's a benevolent heart and a benevolent team out there. So ma'am, now I'd like to ask you, as you said, and you know very well, this current scenario is being pretty much challenging for all of us. Somewhere, this current scenario also has paved a way for a different mode of teaching dependent on digital technologies. I need to understand from you that how are you doing it all in your school and what kind of opportunity you and your team could foresee in this challenge.
Okay, Sangita, let me tell you very frankly, the whole scenario. See, this thing has happened suddenly. Initially, when we heard about coronavirus, we didn't know what it was and that social distancing was so important. So we just thought it was a virus which would not affect so much and the schools were going on fine. Suddenly, there was this great thing that all schools to be closed and students to stay home and we are locked inside. Initially, everybody got very perturbed. We were absolutely, we didn't know what to do with it. Students, classes, everything was there. So we thought that it was like an obstacle. And me as the head of the whole institution that I'm running, my school is Springdale School that is in the northeast of this country, Assam. So I thought that instead of making the others also get paranoid about this whole thing, let us make this obstacle an opportunity. We must make it an opportunity, but how to go about it? So the question of online classes came, that we need to carry on with our classes, we need to do something, but until and unless we know how to do it, because none of our teachers will right now were very used to a thing called online classes. They were more with the chalk and board kind of classes or the smart classes, and online class is a new conception for all of us. So, but, I always believe in positivity, because I tell you, it's always in the mind. And I will tell you one thing, that necessity is the mother of invention. So we thought, let us all get together, not in our houses, we are all far away somewhere or the other, but on the phone, on a WhatsApp, and let's decide how to do it. So I started making a module, that what are the kind of things that we will now reach out to the students, because the students are sitting in the house. Most of the parents do not know how to go about on an online class, because some are also from the villages. Some might not have this kind of Android phones and things like that. So instead of making them get more disturbed, instead of making them feel that they're somewhere far away, we thought that let us start the classes. I did not start a Zoom class with them. I started in a very small way by our WhatsApp classes. We got together and we got them opening into different groups with the different teachers there. And we just started in a very simple way by a hi-bye kind of a thing. And then it went. So that positivity was there and the determination was there, that we need to do something was the first step that we did it. I know it is digital, but it is very difficult when we are starting classes with class 1. We have also started classes with the prep schools. So how do you do it? Because they are small children and they do not know how to deal with it. So we kept requesting the parents that since you all are in the house now, you all need to be with the children, give them time, and you sit with them and you start with we are going to start the online classes and you will have to be with the children to open that WhatsApp message for them. So we framed a module, and in the module, the teachers also started making things, because they had no books at that moment, because our session starts from April. We just finished off with our exams and our admissions had not started, so books were not given. So the curriculum designing came with the teachers, from the teachers, with the teachers as a group. So they looked at the aptitude of the children. The teachers who taught before were talking to the teachers who would be teaching now, because they were promoted to the next classes. Each and every child's anecdotal reports were passed on from one to the other, and we started forming a curriculum. We were talking about a happy curriculum all these years. Make a happy curriculum, let the school be happy, let the classrooms be happy. So I thought that this was the best opportunity to make a very happy curriculum in the true sense of the term. And when it came to happy curriculum, so it was, I didn't believe in, we talk about child-centric education and things like that. I told the teachers, let it be child-driven education. Let's take from the children what they want now, because now this is not going to be a classroom. This is going to be an online class, and we have a lot of time with the students now to talk to them and to take out what they wanted. And we started getting reports from that this is the way, ma'am, we would like to be taught now. So we give them a lot of opportunity to see that whether the teacher and the child together now can make the classrooms more interesting. So the online classes started. And once our classes started, the momentum went on, and now we have reached the goal. And we are very happy that even now my online classes are going on in different classes with a different group of teachers. But at the same time, we are also seeing that the children are not overburdened. We are keeping a session with them from the morning, right in the school, how we do it, with a prayer, with a yoga, with an assembly song, with a good motto for the day and a thought for the day. With all those kind of things, we are making them feel like, as though they're in a classroom, but in a very happy classroom. So that's how my teachers and me, we started working. Of course, initially there were a lot of, kind of things, whether we are okay or not, but it went on.
I understand this, that it's more of, so there was a change of perception here in dealing with this particular challenge, wherein rather than we pushing things to these students, we kind of started understanding that what is that they were looking in these challenges.
Yes, what they were, because when When we are in a classroom teaching, we have a set syllabus. The syllabus needs to be completed, and then it becomes very exam oriented. So we are not doing that now. We want that. Where have the students' concept been lacking? Let us start from the base now. So we are getting a lot of time to be with the children, because we are also opening up a session in the evening, that is from 5 to 7. We are keeping a session where all the doubt clearing can be done. The parents can also come online, talk to the teachers and find out, what does this chapter mean? What does this question mean? What is the answer of this question? So we have a lot of interaction now with the parents, with the students and the teachers. And that real rapport, which we always talk about in the school, which becomes really just a talk about thing, has come, for me, it has come into real life, Now I can understand it very well.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking about the WhatsApp University, and here we are. It can always be put to a better use, and I think at Springdale we have Dr. Ahmed doing it all so beautifully, not really taking to Zoom or any other medium, but the very basic one that is available, also understood well by the teachers and the fraternity of students. So wow, that is simply, I think this is where she kind of looked for an opportunity into a challenge, and the most important perception that she implemented, as we could hear it, is yes, it's all about, it's not about from teacher to student, but also from student to teacher. Thank you.
Yes.
Your thoughts. And with that, let me bring on very, very quickly Celestia here with us. Celestia, I need to understand from you, that you are a renowned personality in beauty industry. We'd like to understand from you that the impact of the current scenario on the industry, the beauty industry. Well, for me, I just can't wait to step out and buy my makeup, and trust me, it's kind of I'm kind of keeping it on.
I know, right?
And of course, what are the challenges or modifications that can be done? Understanding the industry undergoing this kind of change owing to the ongoing scenario. So let me understand from you.
Okay. So first of all, I'd just like everyone understand I'm actually from Singapore. So I'm actually talking in terms of the perspective, local perspective. So currently, the industry here is actually forced to undergo major restructuring that has never happened before, at a very short time. So the technology and the online media have grown to be more important than ever before for business to carry as per normal. People have to get used to having thermal sensors around, scanners, and using technology to connect to their customers, whether they have a brick mortar store or they have an e-commerce store. So and also over here, people are getting more used to the importance of social distancing, the cleanliness and working from home, and the companies are actually trying to take the job scope whereby some of the scope could be done at home, and some have to be done in offices, because it's not possible right now to after all this is over to have a full force back as well. So there still needs to be a certain amount of social distancing. And for those who are at home, couples have to get used to spending time together without killing each other. I'm joking. So, and those with kids, right? How the kids are using the home-based learning, to learn how to be more independent and actually responsible for their own progress. So that's actually very important for parents like us who are. So in terms of operation, as of date, quite a number of businesses have already downsized. Some has actually closed, and also some of the working hours has been reduced. There's pay cut, there's leave clearance. Some are still surviving with some help given by the government. Because in Singapore, right, like for the month of April, the government actually have give about 75% of the local employees' wages. So that's a pretty good move. So because this scheme is actually introduced in our budget in February, and it was actually enhanced as a supplementary budget in March to provide a subsidy of 25% of the wages of all local employees. So, but those in the food services is 50%, and those in the tourism and aviation is 75%. So, and they will like get the payouts all over. for those with the physical shop, in this industry, right? Because they need to practice social distancing, so the number of customers that could be served at any one time is significantly reduced, especially if they are a spa or facial or hair salon, they would not be able, if their sitting is maybe 20, maybe at one time now they could only have 5 depending on the space of their shop. So that is something that's an issue at this point of time. And also in shopping malls, there's also a limit. There's a limit now on how many shoppers you can actually go in. So people are queuing to get inside the mall. So like for example, you could, for this size of mall, you could have 100. So there'll be someone to monitor and let people in. And that affects those shops in the mall as well. Because what happened is, if they need to queue, they might be late for their appointment. And that will affect the other scheduling, which they're really selling very little at this point of time. So currently the physical shops are trying to deal with such. But in way back in February, 16 February, we actually started this SG Clean campaign to rally the stakeholders and members of the public, right, to adopt good habits and social responsibility. Just to actually counter this. And our National Environment Agency, we also launched out a SG Clean certificate. And we actually, especially for those publicly accessible premises with high human traffic. So we target to actually, have this at most of the populated places by the end of 2020. So far the pickup rate is pretty high. About 5,000 premises has been certified SG Clean in less than 1 month. So people are taking this really seriously over here, because it includes people from the hawker centers, the food stores, the coffee shops, the hotels and retail businesses in malls, and as well as schools. So in terms of online wise, a lot of businesses are going online now, especially for Facebook. People are going like live now, whether it comes to selling frozen food or whether it comes to selling clothes and cosmetics. People are really going online to actually promote their products and services. Due to social distancing, they could not be open. So what happens now is the Grab and the delivery service are having like tremendous traffic at this point of time. And also the social media is also being very highly engaged so that they could spend some time reminding the customer about the brand and keeping the customer updated about their new products and services, like the lipstick or the new foundations or the new spa treatments and stuff like that.
I mean, I guess that
when all this is over.
guess with beauty, I think somewhere we kind of a little more safe still, because could it be your YouTube, could it be your Insta? It's all flooded with videos, and it's always
exactly
online shopping. So I guess somewhere much before this particular crisis hit us, this particular challenge hit us, somewhere we already had found that particular opportunity into the digital world, and we are safe that somewhere we have been reaching our customers across, through online.
Yes.
So I guess it's come as for all of us, and only we need to kind of go ahead and equip it a little more stronger for everybody. Is what.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you. With that, let me bring on Shezaan here with us. So Shezaan, yes, I need to understand from you, what changes do you think that people will want to have in their homes for better prevention from such disease in the future? Well, I mean, though we are still trying to find out the present, we really don't know, what is the outlook in the future. But are you kind of ready, and are you already starting to have innovating on certain projects? And how are you innovating? Then you need to unmute your mic. Unmute.
All right. Yeah. Hey, they probably want lesser people in the house. But on a more serious note, I think people are obviously looking at two things at home, right? One is how do you kind of make a more comfortable office or workspace at home? Obviously, the reality is that people are going to be working at home a lot. We've realized over the last month that, we have 11 offices across the country, and I realized that we don't need half of them. So I think the realization is that people are just as productive or can be just as productive at home. So people would obviously want to spend more time at home and take more care of the space that they work in. So people obviously want to carve out their little corner of work, and some people will be lucky enough to have a room. Some people may not be lucky enough to have a room, in which case, in their own bedroom or in their living room, how do they carve out a little workspace? And obviously, protocol at home will change, because a lot of Indian people have families at home. So if you're working from home, the so-called noise or chatter at the back has to be,
I've got 12 people at home right now, Shezaan. And I only hope you are not hearing anybody.
So it needs to be managed. And that's a challenge. So I think we'll evolve, our home etiquette will evolve, so to speak. If we are all forced to be on Zoom like we all are today, a lot more, our home etiquette will evolve. I think a lot of people will get used to having, sanitized zones at home, bring stuff, because the virus isn't going away for the next 1 year. So at least for the next 1 year, we'll have to kind of, create, sanitized zones at home, in our kitchens, stuff like that. So I guess, in that sense, it'll probably evolve in the most logical way. For us, the bright spot is that people will hopefully want to kind of, take a little bit more interest in their homes. Whether, that actually leads to them spending money on it remains to be seen. But hopefully we'll get there.
As you just said, the etiquettes at home will kind of evolve. Do you think it's going to turn into a better way, as in while we are working from home, we'll not have families kind of understand that yes, we do a lot of work back in our workspace, and also when it comes to the professional.
Sorry, Sangita, I lost you.
Can you hear me, Shezaan?
Sorry, can you just repeat the question? Sorry, I lost you there.
I'm saying you spoke about the work etiquettes. You spoke about home etiquettes as well. So need to understand from you that while we are working from home, I think there'll be evolvement of etiquettes from home as well. We'll not have everybody just barge in and want to talk to us, so they'll understand that way. While when it comes to professionally, our bosses might just not call up us at odd hours and say, hey, hi, are you available? Because they know that we are very much at home.
Right.
I think that is also very important, that people will understand where the limits are and where it needs to stop and where it needs to start, isn't it?
Right.
I think.
Yeah, I guess that's the right side.
So, Shezaan, I need to understand from you, the moment we were hit with this particular reality, with this whole crisis, what was that perception that you immediately kind of changed and that helped you to deal with this kind of, challenge and kind of start looking for opportunities? That one thing that you saw a change of mind, something that you can kind of share with us on this platform?
So actually, I almost lived or evolved with the virus. I was in the US when it hit in March, and I had to quickly make my way back. And I kind of saw, evolving the reaction when it first hit. People were taking it very casually, and then as it became more serious towards mid-March, people started becoming, hey, this is real, right? And I think when I landed back, and when I think the first time the lockdown was announced, we knew that there's no, just looking at the history and the curve that South Korea, China, and US had gone into, we knew for a fact that there's no way that this lockdown is going to be short or that it's going away. So we immediately kind of realized that there's a lot of negative, obviously, but the positive is that you have this 1 month of pause, where really you can really, very rarely in your life, running a business, you get this 1 month to really pause, think, and then decide where you want to go. And it's so rare, especially if you're in growth mode as a business or as individually you're doing so many things. I think a lot of us would have got time to just pause and think of where we are in our lives, in our businesses, and then consciously decide where you want to go. And I think that month of pause, so to speak, for everybody, at least for myself, has been great. For the business, has been great. We're so much more clear of where we want to go, what changes we want to make as a business, as individuals. I think the best thing is we would never in our lives have this 1 month of pause if not for the coronavirus. I think that's a positive for me.
So the positive side of it, being more
Yes.
And I think for you, the perception was to introspect at that point in time, to kind of before you start reinventing, introspect and to look inwards. Right. Thank you. And I would request all our panelists at this point in time that we have Dr. Shahnaz, and she needs to leave. So before I carry forth, to put your questions forward, I'd like to have my last question with Dr. Ahmed here before say a goodbye to her, though we really not want her to leave, but nonetheless she has to go and feed a lot of people out there. She's doing an amazing job out there. So ma'am, very quickly, as you said, your way of teaching has evolved. You've taken to digitalization. There is the WhatsApp University that has been created for good. Need to understand for you this. How do you think this kind of a momentary change in the module will actually affect the students' performances? How is it impacting on them? What will be the effect of the student emotional development in the absence of a personal touch
Very true.
factor?
Yes, Sangita, that's a very important question, because see, when we talk about school, what does school mean? School does not just mean a building. It means a lot of us together, the teacher, the student, all the helpers that are there, the education that is going on, everything together means a school. Infrastructure is just a building. We can say that the building is closed, but teaching is going on. We are doing it however we are doing it. So this part, what you are saying, that now will it affect the emotional side of the students? Will it have any impact on them? Definitely it will have, because for a child, because we are dealing with very small children, and these are children, these are not adults. So we need to look into the emotional side. And for children, the teacher is the very important part in their life, because she's like a next mother to them. Whatever the teacher says, the child listens to it. But at the same time, we cannot become negative. I again repeat and say we need to be very positive when we are doing something. As just now the speaker before me, Shezaan, has said that a pause is required. So here it did give me a time to sit back and think that how do we improve on our kind of education also. All this time we were carrying on rote teaching, rote learning, coming to a class. Okay, we do have a lot of creativity, we do have a lot of innovativeness in our teaching, but that 8 to 4 o'clock of being in the school and coming back very tired also kills certain things inside us. So this gave us a very good opportunity to sit back and think, are we going wrong somewhere? Are we really getting into the needs of the children? So the emotional side of the children now has to be tackled. So to do this, again, which I will again say that where there's a will, there is a way, and we need to do it. We again thought the child has not seen the teacher. All this time, we are talking only on a voice message, or we are sending them some kind of videos. So I said, stop taking out videos from these Googles and YouTubes. You make your own videos where you are the person who is going to teach them. They will be seeing that she's my teacher and she's the person that I'm going to follow. So we have not kept one teacher in that group. We kept about 5 of them. And so in the process of telling stories, in the process of dramatization, the teachers from different sides, sitting in their own homes, made these kind of videos and started showing it to the children. And the wow factor in education then started coming. We just opened the link for a short while and we asked them, are you all happy, children? Yes, ma'am. The answer immediately comes. Are you happy? Do you enjoy? Are you enjoying the story? So all these things, the positivity, the happiness that is required, because we know students will become very, very emotional. Their emotional side needs to be tackled. The mind needs now to be handled because they're bored inside their house. They're not allowed to go out. So what is the best factor now to deal? To tell them stories, to put up those kind of music where they would dance and sing, and the teacher also does a lot of dancing in the videos and makes even the parents dance. There are a few of my teachers who say, parents, you also come. Let us all do the dance together. Let us teach maths in this way. Let us teach social studies in this way. So it was absolutely different. And I enjoyed, whenever I listen to them also, I feel very happy that the students are very happy doing the whole thing. Then the other factor that we started taking with the students was that the one-to-one conversation on the phone in the evenings. We call them up when we have the question answer session. Every third day, the teacher calls up. So we are 20 in a group. Suppose that there are 100 students in these 3 sections. So each teacher will call up about 20 to 25, because after all, it's a telephone. And so she needs also to be not pressurized so much. So she calls up the child, she calls up the mother, she talks to the child. So that kind of a voice and talking, and when you are doing voice calling, the teacher sees the child and the child sees the teacher. So that emotional side has now been so slowly and so gradually been taken care of, that now we feel that we are really enjoying the whole thing. And even now, just now, I could see my WhatsApp going on, and I can see all the teachers showing it to the students, and I'm observing it, what's going on, because I just cannot close it. Because I'm talking with you all doesn't mean that I'm going to close all my WhatsApp messages coming in the online classes. And after this is over, we finish off the classes by 1 o'clock. Then we have a wrap-up session with the teachers, and we find out that did the students really enjoy the class? What is your kind of thing that you will do tomorrow? So we again have a session with the teachers from 8 in the evening to 10 at night, and we start talking about how well they will be prepared tomorrow, not in a monotonous way. It has to become very interactive. It has to be really joyful. The word joyful has to be there.
Wow.
You know, we need to change our perception in this whole thing. And this, the positive side of coronavirus, I would tell you, plus minus everything, is that it has really evolved what was inside us. We have really become very sensitive human beings. We have started now thinking about each other. The child is happy, the teacher should be happy, I should be happy, everybody happy, your day is happy.
So I think the most aspirational thing right now for all of us is life itself. And like you said, you know, I did make a mention earlier that perception is on that 3 triangle, and I think you're dealing with a lot of pathos out there with a lot of emotional quotient into it. Which is
yes. I'm very passionate about my job, Sangita. I believe that education is not just, it just never ends. It is a lifelong process, and it has to carry on.
Absolutely. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for being here, and I would really appreciate all the panelists talking so well. And this is just a learning process, because I think I'm very senior now, but I'm really enjoying everybody talking what they're saying, and how, you know, see, now we have come to know each other from different parts of the world. Because of this, we have now become so connected that now today I know so many of y'all. And this is the positive side, and it's all in the mind, and we need to really work. You know, I really believe in one thing which Tagore says, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. And I really agree to what he says, and I carry on with this kind of thing. Thank you so much, Sangita. Thank you to the whole panel.
Okay. Great pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank
my
you.
pleasure. Yeah.
And with that, let me very, very quickly bring on another panelist here with us, Mr. K. Prasad. So I need to understand from you that, you know, this moment, the moment has obviously given us a fresher view as to how our hospital should be equipped to deal with contagious disease like that, you know, like these kinds. And what changes are you going to incorporate at Prasad Hospital particularly? We want to understand the key challenges of the healthcare sector, which can be seen, and the opportunities that lie ahead for leaders like you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, like you pointed out, see, like Mr. Shezaan said, most of them got a chance to take a pause and introspect everything to understand what they want to do and where they want to go. But unfortunately for the healthcare sector, we didn't get that pause. We were open all the time and we continued serving patients. For us, it was a completely different challenge because, of course, we are here to treat people who are sick and who come to us with a problem. But for a problem without a solution, it is very difficult. And that too, we're dealing with lives. So it makes it even more challenging. And because it's a very sensitive thing and there's an emotional quotient attached to it. Putting that aside, see, the primary challenge for us was keeping our flock together, keeping our staff together. So, of course, there is a financial impact as well. But as a healthcare provider, our primary concern, in any business, you make money and you lose money. But as a healthcare provider, our priority was making sure all our patients all their issues are addressed. But it was very, very challenging because our staff, so obviously there is a fear in everyone. You do not want to expose yourself. Pretty much that's the case with any human being. And primarily, so let's say there's a nurse, for example. So even if the nurse actually wants to come and work, and so, I would attribute what a nurse does at this point to national duty, national service. But so there are people at home, there are elders at home, and they obviously do not want to expose the people in their family to come and work. So it was very challenging. We had to keep them motivated. We had attrition. And so the other part of it is another major department is, for example, if it's a doctor to some extent or anyone else, they're well educated, even a nurse to that matter, they're well educated and they're aware of the do's and don'ts, or they try reading about it online. Unlike the case of a housekeeping staff. So a housekeeping person is a very important stakeholder in any hospital, probably in any industry. And the problem is they are exposed to patients and they need constant training. So that was another challenge we faced. So and again, the attrition is usually high in that department. So we had to keep everyone together and kept educating them. And obviously, so in order to keep our operations running, we had to procure PPEs. As it is, our volumes dropped. But adding to that, PPEs are basically personal protection equipment, in case anyone doesn't know. So that actually dented our bottom line even further. So, but the first 1-2 weeks, our priorities were clear. And very fortunately, we were always pretty calculated about our cash flows. So though it did impact our bottom line, we were still stable, and we did not prioritize money at that point. We were more focused on getting things right, and because even now, no one knows what exactly it is or what the cure is. So we didn't understand what was going on, but all we knew was if our staff were well protected and motivated to come and work, we could serve patients. So that was our priority then, and gradually, so maybe in the second week of April, as more information kept coming in on how this virus can be prevented and how it can be avoided and all of that, then we slowly started taking more precautions, and then we opened up one service after another. But see, the thing is, most of our
just one thing, you've been talking about the cash flow, the PPEs, and a lot of other things. But what I need to understand from you, when we were hit by something like this, today somewhere doctors, did you see there was a change in terms of the mindset and how they're going to be treating the patients? Like you said, they would not want to expose themselves and people back home. How difficult was to tackle into those minds, your nurses or your housekeeping? Did you see some kind of a paranoia, and how did you, what was really done to take care of this particular challenge that was right in their mindset first above everything else?
Right. So like the previous speaker, we do have a few doctors and a few nurses who are very passionate about what they do. So when they have that passion in them, it is, there is nothing I or any other hospital owner needs to do. It comes within them and they do it themselves. But that isn't enough because there are others also. So you need two hands to clap, right? So just with one doctor functioning or one nurse functioning, it doesn't work. So obviously we made sure we appreciated and incentivized them well enough. So that, more than the incentive there, it is about the appreciation and the appreciation that we give them because they're dealing with life. So we kept giving the nurses and the other doctors, whoever weren't psychologically prepared, the confidence that they are protected. We're doing everything. And for us, for us, our staff's health was our priority. Obviously, your patient's health is priority, but we also made it very clear that our priority is staff health and then everything else. So once we gave them that confidence, people slowly started coming back to work, and that's about it. So I hope I answered your question.
Of course, wonderful. That's exactly what we wanted to understand, that how are you tackling with these times, and more importantly, these changing minds. So thank you so much. And with that, let me bring on Dr. Renuka David, who is here with us. Ma'am, I need to understand from you that how was this whole phase of lockdown for your business, and how did you manage to tackle the challenges to keep your services on point? Again, understanding from your perspective.
Hi, Sangita. Being a medical doctor, actually, I run something called the Radiant Medical Services, and we deal with providing home health care to elderly and sick, and also we are into counseling, wellness counseling, and stuff like that. So when this was announced, I'm from Chennai, and so initially there wasn't that much of panic. So when around March 20th, 21st, when they said that they're going to lock down and this and that, so my girls, my staff now, they are all looking after senior people at home, and there was this panic situation. There was this panic button, and they were all wanting to go home. So it took a lot of counseling, because I felt at that time there was too much of panic. India is a country we've been through a lot. We've somehow come out of it. Our herd immunity, whether it's tuberculosis, and I mean, we got better immunity than people in the West. So I somehow thought that there was no need of so much of panic. So we managed to, keep about 65 to 70% of our girls from going home. But we had to let go these young. Now these girls are between 21 to 29. That's the age group. So they are panicking. They want to go home. They're hearing all kind of things around them. So I let them go. But the others, what we did is we had to shut down our hostel, knowing that this is a condition where, there could be a spread, and then, things were getting closed, gyms and salons. So hostel was also, I knew was going to come next. So we called our, the senior people that our clients were, and we told them, see, if you want to have our home health girls, if you want to have them, they'll have to stay with you 24/7. And if you're okay with that, then I can provide you with these girls. Otherwise, I'm sorry, I'll not be able to continue. And around 60 of them were very open to it, because now these are people who have been depending on home health care. They are elderly, they are sick. And so yes, around 60 to 65% of my girls are staying with them. Now we closely monitor these girls, because there are patients whom our girls have to take for dialysis. They have to accompany them to critical care. They have to attend. So we are constantly in touch with them. We are motivating them, and we are talking to the clients. Having said that, if you ask me how is my business going, there has been, as in many sectors, there has been business have been going slow, because another company, the mother company, the Radiant Cash Management Services, for which I'm the director, we do cash logistics, and our footprint is all over the country. So yes, there is, because the retail segment has slowed down, there has been a decrease in business when you think of that, but then volumes have come down, but I'm so happy that even now our cash executives, knowing that cash management services and Radiant medical services both have been essential services from the government of India. They have been brave. They have gone out. They've been going on, because cash cycle is a cycle where you got the collection of cash from the RBI, and then it goes to various this thing, and then you collect it and bring it back to the banks. And there are Cs who are still doing it. They're going out there. But the volume has definitely come down. So being a doctor helped, because we have also made it very compulsory to follow all the social norms when our Cs goes, cash executives are out there in the open. They follow all the norms as much as possible, the social distancing, the mask, the gloves and stuff like that.
Deal in cash, everybody is like, okay, let me do a Paytm, or let me do some kind of digital transaction, because even the notes at times you kind of have a paranoia that might have, maybe carrying the virus. And there's so many challenges, even in smaller ways, right, ma'am?
Absolutely. There is, and earlier it wasn't, but now yes, there is, because people, and it is a fact. I mean, I'm doing so much of reading and so much of studying into the virus. One is, the virus is something which we earlier thought it's a coronavirus. Corona is an ordinary influenza virus, but this is such a I don't know whether it's a mutant virus or it's such a, you're still learning every day. You're learning new things about this virus, and it's not going to go away. As someone in the panel, our panel said, that it's going to take at least a year for things to settle unless you have a virus. And India's hoping that we'll have a virus by September where things will slow down. We are just taken a pause right now. But having said that, yes, people are scared. People are scared to handle cash. So we from the organization, we're very particular about how our people handle it. They are wearing masks, they're wearing gloves, they're having this thing, and even the containers from which the cash is collected, they make sure that they sanitize. So there are new SOPs learned. As I'm very happy to say there are new normals which are being set in our company, and so that's
in the way.
Yes, absolutely. New normals, new hygiene, new protocols, but it's going on. Volumes have come down, but it's nevertheless happening.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. So as you very rightly said, we just heard from Dr. Renu that this is the new normal, in which ideally should have been the way in terms of sanitization, in terms of being a little more conscious about the hygiene around us. I think now all that was taught to us in school, that how hygienic we need to be. And I think this is the time, this pause is for us to understand that yes, hygiene should be a way of life and not something that has to be done when you have a crisis like this. So thank you. And with that, let me bring on the ever smiling Mr. Ajay Bansal here with us. So you had this, compulsive obsessive smile. I've been watching you. It's wonderful. It's lovely. So I know you've been dealing with the challenge very well, because the smile says it all. But nonetheless, need to understand that actually your business might have faced a lot of setbacks in these weeks. What is the ray of hope for you in these challenging times? What are the newer opportunities that you have explored, and with what perspective and what mindset?
Okay. Thank you, Sangita. It got so late, I thought you'd never call me.
So sorry, but I had to.
No, don't worry. So
after you, rather.
that just explains my smiling face. So I'm always thinking of a joke. Look, first of all, let me tell you what business I am in. Because we are the world's largest hair transplant company, DHI, direct hair implantation.
Profile yesterday, and
right.
I saw all the pictures out there. You've been doing an amazing job. I did see a lot of DHI International. I did see Indonesia, India, and a lot of other instances. So yes.
Yeah. So we set up. We've got clinics all around the world, and many people believe that we are in beauty business or vanity business. Okay, I want to correct that perception. This is actually a very, very serious medical business, which is actually conducted by absolutely top doctors. Most of our doctors are specialist dermatologists, and they are highly, highly trained in the field of hair transplants, and they've been doing it for years altogether. Okay, most of the doctors actually, they just specialize in only one thing. Day in and day out, they only do hair transplants. Okay, so they are like really, really good at it. For 10 years, if you keep on doing only one thing, I think you're going to be the best at it in the world. So why do they do this? The doctors are very passionate people, and my previous co-panelist said, the doctors are very passionate. In my organization, it's a small organization of 130 odd people. Let me tell you that each and every person is so passionate, because we together built this company over the last 8-9 years, and we made it into a world's leading hair transplant company, #1 in the world. Okay, so I'm so proud of each and every member of my team, all the doctors, nurses, sales staff. Not only that, even the people who are in housekeeping. So why are they so passionate? Let me explain to you. And that is the point I was trying to make when I said, our business is not vanity. Our business deals with the issue of hair loss, which causes a very, very severe psychological distress in people who are actually facing them. Okay, so if you really look at a person who is like 25, 30-year-old and he has a hair loss, believe me, you have no idea. He's got actually a medical condition. He's got severe stress. That stress does not even let him work properly, okay, in his personal relationships and his work relationships. His whole self-esteem in his own eyes goes down. Okay, so it is a psychological issue. Please understand. Otherwise, why would anybody go for a hair transplant if getting bald was okay? People go and do all this. It's after all a surgical process. Although it's a very minimally invasive surgery that we do, but it is nevertheless a surgical process. So people do it because they are trying to cure a very severe problem of emotional crisis that happens because of hair loss. And our doctors, our team, our whole company feels very, very proud of the kind of change they can bring into these people's lives. Okay. So with that context, I want to answer your question. So you said that our business would have faced a challenge at the beginning of this. Absolutely, just like any other business. So I don't think that there are many businesses in the world which have grown in the past couple of months, barring, of course, Geo Telecom, which got funding from Facebook, or few companies like
from the Bank of China.
Exactly, or companies like Unilever, Nestle, where the consumption is higher. So
yes.
Within the month of May, we are looking at all the airlines of the world going bankrupt. Within the month of May, they will all go bankrupt. Okay. So tourism industry, Italy is the world's #1 tourist destination. Okay, you can imagine what is going to happen to Italy.
Yes, here, even Singapore, for a matter of fact, is amazing tourism out there.
Yes, I know. I saw somebody, has typed out a question for Celestia over there. So I will leave it to her to answer the question. So the point is, yes, absolutely. There is a little bit of economic crisis. After all, if you are shut down for 1.5 months, yes, absolutely, there is going to be an economic crisis. But if you look at it this way, that it's really the people, the 130 people in my organization, very, very small. And if you count their families, we are talking about 500 individuals who are associated with this organization. Okay, one thing I told everyone is, come what may. Okay, like Shahnaz said, Shezaan said, that, it's going to take a year. That's the best case scenario, that after 1 year, things become okay. It's going to be a long journey. I told everyone in my organization that each one of these 500 people is my personal responsibility. Okay, so that is the passion and teamwork and ownership that is at play here. Okay, my capital is not the money. My capital is the people who work in this organization. Okay, and we are all very proud to hang in together. Look, earnings may be more or less, it doesn't matter. These things go up and down in life. But I think we have to hang in together. We run a global business, so many parts of the world, actually, the business is coming back on track. Especially in Asia, it is faster. Australia is actually pretty much opened up. Even India, actually, Delhi is opened. Many cities have opened up. We have to learn to live with coronavirus. Okay, there is no two ways about it. This lockdown is merely a tactic to delay and to learn and to accelerate that. Sorry, not delay. Accelerate the process of learning. You sit at home, make your policies, prepare your hospitals to fight the COVID-19, prepare your businesses, okay, make new normals, okay? But we have to learn to live with this new challenge that we have worldwide today, okay? It's a very, very serious issue. It's not going anywhere. We have to learn to live with it. But while we do that, okay, it is possible that some of us may get infected or may have challenges, economic challenges, right? That is why, I'm reminded of a very beautiful statement I heard the other day on a WhatsApp video I got. It said, the sunflower draws its energy from sun, and which is why it's always facing the sun, right? Okay, but when the sun is not there or when it is clouded, where does it face? They look at each other. Okay, this is that time. This is the time, as humans, no human is unaffected by this tragedy. Okay, we have to look at each other. We have to draw strength from each other, and this starts from home. My home is these 500 people. So we draw strength from each other. We talk to each other very, very closely. We have Zoom meetings. We are going to start fun meetings on Zoom. Forget about work and learning and webinars and this and that. Why can't we have some fun meetings? Where everybody can crack a joke or just have a laugh together or whatever. So teamwork and hanging in together, I think that's really the key message.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ajay. Thank you so much. Indeed, hang in together. keep looking at each other. There could be times that I could kind of feel low. There could be times that somebody who's doing better than me, kind of drawing your inspiration from people. I think today we're becoming more people-oriented than more process-oriented. I guess that's what it is. So thank you. And I'm surely going to bring you back on the panel. With that, let me speak to our last, of course, last but not least, we've got Miss Komal, a very young, wonderful speaker here with us. So Komal, thank you so much for waiting this long for us. It's going to be wonderful, I'm sure. Komal, I need to understand from you that, how the pandemic impacted your thought process to running a business in the edible category. What kind of challenges you figure out in the current scenario, and how are you planning to convert them into an opportunity for you?
Hi. So hello panelists, and thank you so much, Sangita, for your question. So I would like to tell you that we come from the food industry, where, essential category where food is so important for survival. And being from this industry has really taught us that, how important we need to bring nutrition, how important nutrition is for people to consume during these trying times, because how important immunity for your body is. So what we face during these trying times is, for us, the most important thing we're having, the safety of our employees, because getting the food to our consumers should have safety of employees first. Because coming from the industry of packaged food, employee safety in converting food into a finished product in a safe manner coming to the consumers is how important. So having sanitization in place, having protocols in place that have been laid by the government was the topmost priority for us, because food has to have the safety reaching its consumers, because all of us today are consuming food products that we're ordering them online, or we're going to grocery stores in intervals when we're through lockdown measures. But when we bring them home, we do sanitize them. But being from this industry, giving a product that has that quality and that hygiene factor is very, very important. So for us, the major challenge was to understand how important we have our force, where our employees are given that safety, how we ensure their mindset is positive to create, help us to get these products to our consumers. Secondly, we've also realized that it's just not the nutrition for the urban sector. Like, the urban sector is still getting everything they need from grocery stores, but it's actually the social strata that is really suffering during these trying times. And what we need to do is, create affordable food products that would cater to that sector of the society, just like how Dr. Ahmed said before, that how important it is to give out food to people who really need it in these trying times, who don't have the access to such kind of food. So what we are doing is we're trying to work on food products that would be affordable. However, that would also kind of hit our bottom line, but we also know that if we, like Mr. Bansal said, that if we don't stand up with each other together to provide to our community, to provide to our people, we won't succeed in these trying times. So this is what I feel is the way forward for a food industry, because you do not just look at the urban sector, you should also look at the social sector. When you're trying to give out the kind of nutrition they need, it should be for all. It shouldn't be nutrition for one, not nutrition for the urban sector, but nutrition for all. And that is what our focus is at Nutrezy, and coming from this industry.
And right, as you very rightly said, packaged food is more luxury to the urban strata, and here you are trying to develop something more far beyond that, reaching out to the lower economic strata and making it all more. And I guess each one of our panelists, there's one thing that everybody has been reinforcing, is that yes, the new normal is the hygiene policies, which ideally should have been an integral part of our lives. And today, I think we are kind of building it into our consciousness. And that's exactly what you're doing out there. Thank you, Komal. And with that, Celestia, let me bring you on here. You are a popular personality back in Singapore and across the world. I need to get a message from you for all your fans and followers who look up to you for an inspiration. They could be having a lot of challenges. And, how do you kind of deal with this particularly you personally, how are you dealing with, not from business perspective, but onto day-to-day life, your every single day? How do you wake up? What do you say to yourself? How do you kind of keep yourself motivated with the lockdown?
Me? Okay, my every morning schedule, it is very simple. The first thing I wake up is to take a look if my kids are up already. No, just joking. I think the first thing that I usually do is actually switch on my Spotify and start listening to Joe Osteen's sermon. So I use sermons to uplift myself. Before, while I play the sermons, I start to keep the dishes, start to think, okay, what's the room service order for today? And I start preparing breakfast for my kids. So that's the thing. But, okay, I think back to your question, I really feel that this is the time that we should be spreading more acts of kindness, words of encouragement, and showing support and patience to especially the healthcare workers, especially when we are really interacting with them. And it is not a time to be a judge, a keyboard warrior, or create social chaos with racism and discrimination. And we really need to come forward together to fight this common enemy, because now we are all facing this enemy together, which is the virus. And using social media to spread humanity and love, not war and hatred, and use our individual strength to help in ways that we can, because God wonderfully made us to give, doesn't it? So it's like together we could actually make this world a better place together. Yeah, God bless.
We'll get it together. Thank you. Celestia, you have a wonderful smile, and I think that kind of becomes an inspiration for all your fans out there. Keep smiling.
I love to smile. That's the thing. I'm always I love to laugh out loud. I just love.
Perfect. With that, let me bring on Shezaan back here. So, Shezaan, from you, I hope I'm audible enough to you. And yeah. So, you've been talking about how you really don't need a lot of offices out there in the world, but your home could kind of double up into your office and stuff like that. So from that particular perspective, I need to understand, today everybody under this crisis and threat also keeps on saying that the planet is switching off, the earth is kind of switching off, and the planet is kind of, the earth is kind of correcting itself and healing its own self. So I need to understand that, will there be a better conscience towards eco-friendly homes after this? What are the challenges which can be transformed into opportunities at this particular point in time?
Look, short answer, no. I'll tell you why. All of us know very well that the environment needs us. Well, all of us in times of crisis now will look outside and feel happy that pollution is less and that the nature is taking a break, and it's all in our consciousness. The fact is, the moment the economy switches back on, we'll all go on with our normal lives. Most of us will. And it's sad fact, but I don't anticipate, in all honesty, that there'll be a much larger drive towards making homes more ecologically friendly, more environment friendly. Because look, what really, I attended a lovely seminar once by Mike Bloomberg in New York, and he was talking about the environment, and it was titled Polar Bears or Profit, the seminar by Mike Bloomberg. And he said, unless you can make the environment profitable, nobody's going to give a hoot about polar bears, right? So if you tell an insurance company that if the environment stays stable, there are going to be lesser natural disasters, you'll save money in insurance, then the insurance company cares about the environment. Otherwise, a few people will care about it, but not enough to make a change. And the fact is that once this whole crisis is over, there will be job cuts, there will be some issues. So people will, focus on their wallet a lot more than they will on nature. That's human nature. So I'm sorry to not toe the line, but I'm just being honest. I don't think that.
From this perspective, we really need to understand that, does this crisis really has changed all the minds, or still there are? Because, when it comes to eco-friendly homes and eco-friendly environment, people have been talking about sustainability to quite an extent, and have been trying to put it into practice as well.
Look, we do about 1,500, 2,000 homes every year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
2 customers would have asked me or asked our team about eco-friendly materials. The fact is that most people, and until you have a majority that cares about the environment. Look, all of us love the environment. All of us are so happy that our cities are less polluted, and we, when we all meet and talk on Zoom meetings, and future when we meet in our living rooms, we'll all talk about how nice it was. But hey, have we done something? Probably not. That's the fact. It'll take some time for it to sink in. I hope it does. But hope is a double-edged sword.
You as an individual, you as a team, will you try to put it into your consciousness, and will you try to kind of work towards it a little more consciously?
To the level that we can. Look, if I have to be honest, right? I mean, at the end of the day, all of us will try to do our bit for the environment. We'll try to save paper. We'll try to save, water. But at the end of the day, if I start tomorrow a line of environment-friendly homes, today it's just expensive to make things environment-friendly, right? It's sad, but it's true. And unless the costs of being environment-friendly, and unless the government gives you credit for being environment-friendly, you get tax rebates for being environment-friendly. I mean, there are companies that get carbon credits, but for normal people, there's no real incentive to be environment friendly. So I'm saying, while private enterprise can step forward, unless the government step in with incentives to be environment friendly, honestly, most people aren't going to be environment friendly, right? It's just how it is.
Completely agree with that particular point of view, that it has to be a public and a private directive together. It cannot just be you alone fighting this battle out there. Perfect. Thank you so much. And with that, let me bring on Mr. Prasad back again here. And sir, I would like to ask you that how are you using Socialight experiences and work to contribute for better future?
So just in case people don't know, Socialight is a digital marketing company that I founded about 5 years ago. So we started off as a graphic designing company and then ventured out into different pieces. But yeah, right now we're a 360-degree digital marketing company. So basically now the thing is, everyone is at home, lockdown. So everyone is pretty much on social media. We've seen a huge spike it's global. Everyone knows that there's a huge spike in the number of people who are using social media in general, Facebook and Instagram in particular. So that is one piece. And the other piece is, many companies, especially things that cannot shut down on marketing. I could quote schools and hospitals as an example. Right now, all their so usually marketing is done through, let's say, newspapers or hoardings or leaflets or stuff like that. Now, all that is completely cut off. So everyone is now dependent on social media. So my hospital also, which is actually in a suburban area where digital media isn't a big thing, is now picking up significant business through the online channels. So we've sort of cut off on all our offline marketing spends and invested all that into digital marketing, and that itself is giving us good results at this point. Likewise with many other businesses. So gradually, I think, gradually, like every other thing has been digitized, I think media will also be digitized, and people will slowly, this is the beginning of a paradigm shift from the way people consume media, from newspapers and hoardings to something more digital and on their phones or on the...
For a matter of fact, we've been AsiaOne magazine, and we've been into print and electronic media.
Right.
On the social media, it is first of the kind of initiative that we are doing through this web talk. I completely agree with you when you said that media is going to be more socially driven in terms of using these kind of platforms, digital platforms that are available to us.
Absolutely. So I see again, so there is a huge opportunity now. Right now for companies like Socialight is typically it's a small company. I won't call it a startup, but it's a medium-sized company. So there is a huge opportunity to grow right now. And but whatever we've slowly, over 5 years, we've learned a lot of things as a company and seen a lot of trends, observed a lot of stuff. So right now we're trying to put all those learnings into place and come up with new solutions for our clients.
Let me bring back Dr. David again. Yes, ma'am. People are becoming more health conscious. The medical service sector seems to be growing exponentially. We need to understand, how do you see the future going forward, and what is the role of your business playing in averting such situations?
Sangita, actually, this COVID experience has taught me personally a lot of things. The other day when I was watching television, the migrant laborers, we just saw a little segment of people being in a very bad place, with shouting for food and police trying to cordon off. This was in Chennai, and so we just started giving out these food packages, to these migrant laborers in a weekly basis. So it's just that the new normal is something which is, I don't know. It is fascinating to learn every minute how the world is changing. Back to your question of how do we see medicine? See, I would like to categorize it into COVID right now and post-COVID. Today, we are in a place where we are needing PPEs, we are needing HPEs, we are needing a lot of space in manufacturing, and we are all waiting for the vaccine to come up. So I guess in this phase of COVID phase, there is going to be a lot of hope and future in the pharma and in the manufacturing. So today, a lot of apparel industries have come forward to convert their kind of workplace into making the PPEs or the masks and keeping the WHO standard. So that's something.
Cities who are making masks, we have Mahindra and Mahindra making ventilators. So they are kind of really, trying to carve a path into these particular medical equipment.
Absolutely. I completely agree, and I like I'm so proud of the way that in India, the way people are coming together. There is this unity, there's this call for action, and people are converting their workshops into meaningful ventures where they can contribute in the space of manufacturing. So PPs or HPs, as you rightly said, Mahindra trying to come out with the ventilators and so on and so forth, and then of course masks. So that's something, and pharma is going to see a big boom in the COVID space. Hopefully, once the vaccine is out, it's not only discovering the vaccine, it's also manufacturing these vaccines, to bring it out there and to supply it. And we are hoping by September, we should see that happening. Post-COVID, what I see is, as someone so rightly said, I think it was my earlier speaker, he mentioned, now what's going to happen is we are also going to see a lot of telemedicine coming in place. Though our hospitals right now, we have a lot of space in emergency ICUs or operating theaters. But I guess right now there's a lot of telemedicine, telehealth. I'm part of something called Lockdown Clinic, where we do, by phone, people come to us and we do consultation online, which was never allowed, which was never permitted before. And now it's just such a psychological thing. A person who's having a problem, and then we doctors speak to them over the phone, and then you get the feedback saying that they are nearly 3/4 cured. It plays a placebo into them, this counseling online thing, which was not done earlier. So again, this is a new normal that we are seeing. This might take on a different dimension post-COVID. So I have hope in this space. Definitely telehealth, telemedicine is going to play a big role. Right now, I also see that MSMEs, which are struggling, I think it will be nice if our government is doing a lot. There's no complaint there, but at least about 1 lakh crore into the MSME sector, because most of the companies are leveraged. Most of them are leveraged, and a stimulus will actually help them from going underbelly. So I think that's something which could be on subsidy on wages or relief on the provident fund. These are measures which will also help the health industry, especially the SME sector. So that's something that I would put my bet on.
As you very rightly said, the MSME sector is really facing a lot of challenge, though we've got banks and, they are okay to waiver off a lot of, give deferments on payments and loans, but still there is more that needs to be done, a better stimulus that needs to become. Absolutely right. And while you just said that, earlier we were not allowed to do this telemedicine, I remember when I travel and at times I would just call up a doctor and the doctor said, no, I cannot, I need to see you. But I guess this is what is going to change as we go forward, right?
Absolutely, I agree.
And once again, I'm going to get Mr. Ajay Bansal back here with me. So while I was talking to you, you did make a mention that when we talk about hair transplant, it's not about a vanity, but to an extent, and you related to more of stress, which actually is the very reason. But today, there are the stress that a person is facing is more on, how after the lockdown, what life is going to be about. There could be possibilities that the spike goes higher and people getting into too many stresses around. And your particular service or is more into personal grooming and wellness. Say what we say, but still, somewhere to an extent, I think this is kind of going to take a back seat. So we need to understand. Though, earlier it was a growing segment, we did see a lot of people being more conscious on how they look. But today, these challenges could give a different kind of a mindset. So how do you think that the future is going to be for brands like you in particular?
Yeah. So, Sangita, like I said earlier, the next 1 year is going to be very difficult for the entire world. Everybody will have to find ways to stay above water. You have to stay afloat. So one thing is, of course, there's a change of SOPs and protocols that you're doing to maintain safety and so on, so forth. And that gives comfort to your patients to think that, yes, they can definitely come over without any risk. Second thing is that even if we were to allocate a part of our business to, let us say, vanity and grooming and so on and so forth, okay, we are still talking about a 50-50 split. 50% is a highly medical need that we are actually taking care of, the psychological stress. Let me tell you, 2-3 weeks back, we had a patient from Punjab who wanted to desperately come to Delhi and get his procedure done. That was in the middle of absolutely severest of lockdowns, okay? So he just wanted to do it. So, he was so keen to do it at that time. So, people have...
Home and, the downtime and stuff like that.
Exactly. He wanted to go home and relax for 2-3 days and, get over that downtime. So the point is that next 1 year is going to be tough for everyone. We are also launching a range of other services which are more in the nature of immunity building and so on and so forth. But look, let me tell you one thing, human resilience is such an awesome thing, it is such an awesome thing. It has overcome every single challenge life has presented to us. Okay, none of us was alive when Spanish flu happened in 1918. Okay, it carried on for a period of around 18-19 months. 2 waves killed 50 to 100 million people. And guess what happened? What followed? What followed was the Roaring 20s, right? The Roaring 20s followed Spanish flu. After all that massacre and death and so on, what followed was Roaring 20s. So I am very hopeful, it is a matter of a year or so. I was talking to a very top M&A consultant in the country. He told me, he said, just wait till November when Diwali comes. And believe me, it's going to be more polluted than last year. So I think human spirit is amazing. I think we are all going to survive. We are all going to thrive in the times to come.
And that is what Homo sapiens are all about, right? Though crisis has generally taken us away from our personal agendas, our current agendas, it has been expensive, it has been detracting us, but somewhere it has also given us an opportunity. I'd like to quote President Kennedy here, who actually suggested that out of every crisis emerges a new and incredible opportunities. And I think that's what we're all hoping.
Exactly.
Thank you, Mr. Ajay Bansal. Thank you so much. And with that, yes, Komal, coming back to you. My last question to you. We did speak about the packaged industry. So we also been talking about hygiene issues. Now, do you think that it will be a better world for packaged food? People will be more acceptable, and this is what people will be looking for, because when it comes to packaged, it means it is hygienic, it is sanitized, it is taken care of. So do you think that, the packaged food industry after the lockdown sees a better future, and how do you strategize in deriving, in more of educating your audience, your target audience, and actually ensuring a better positioning for your packaged food?
Thank you, Sangita. And that's right. Like you said, packaged food comes with a lot of hygiene. It will definitely be more preferred over open food available. in cafes or in restaurants. So packaged food would be definitely preferred, but packaged food also is categorized under different categories. The category that we come from is the healthy food, which is the need of the hour. Like packaged food, like health food categories, which will be immunity boosters, plant-based food, food products that will be giving you the right amount of targeted nutrition for your body, for your health, is something that will be preferred by consumers. Because there will still be a dilemma where, there would be people thinking that home-cooked food is much better than packaged food. But the packaged food that they will really vouch for is the health food. And we would bring in those kind of products that would really help in, improving your immunity, improving your health. And the way we would think of strategizing this would be, I think more than ever today, the consumers are wanting to get educated about these kind of products. Today, everyone wants to go up and search on the net, what is really giving you the right amount of nutrition? What is the food product I need to consume in hard times? What is a product which will help my body feel better? So I feel like we conducting and giving more educative, webinars or stuff like that, where you can educate the consumer where what is the right kind of food that is to be consumed, will help us to strategize better in these times. Today, even consumers do not know how to read a nutrition label. So how important it is to, really know what kind of food product you need to consume, what is really healthy. So we look at, strategizing in such ways where we can literally tell the consumers.
Very deceptive, very discerning. So you kind of, you need to get the right message out.
You need to get the right message out there to the consumers that this is what you need to have and this is what you don't need to have. So
and
how we,
So you would be more of prioritizing health and immunity, promoting. So that is what your USP would be more in terms of that, how healthy the food is.
How healthy the food is. That's right.
Thank you so much. Wow. So with that, I just have one question here for Celestia. So Celestia, this one question that we have for you is, Singapore has traditionally been a tourism-driven company, and how and when do you think tourism thrive back into Singapore? What are the measures that government is taking to revive tourism?
Oh, in terms of tourism, okay. Right. I think in terms of this aspect, Singapore has been very vigilant in making very strict control measures in terms of tourism. And when it comes to anyone that within the Singapore itself, anywhere you go, you are actually strictly being quarantined once you come to Singapore for 2 weeks. And once you're cleared, then you will still need to adhere to the lockdown measures. Currently, at this point of time, other than going for the essential services like going to a doctor, getting your food, or taking a walk right downstairs, you are not allowed to do anything else. That's the current measures at this point to contain the virus. So everyone, we are actually doing our part to make things happen. So of course, there are people out there who are not following the rules, but generally, most of the tourists believe that we are staying very, very strict to the rules so that we don't have to extend the lockdown. Because at the end of the day, that's why we have this hashtag SG United. That's why at the end of the day, right, Singaporeans, we are really staying put. And if you look at all the platforms that's available online right now, over here, we have a lot of means, not even to step out at home. We can buy our vegetables, our frozen food, or even ordering food online. And everything is really via delivery. And we go, we're actually following towards the contactless delivery format. As in, we don't even, the person will just leave it at the door, and then we will just take the items. And usually for me, when I pick up the items, right, I will sanitize the package. I'll really take my Dettol and I'll sanitize the package before I do anything else. And after that, so that's actually very important. And over here, it is also compulsory, even if you're out to get food or whatsoever, to be on your mask. So you need to be on a mask. Whether it's actually cloth mask or silicone, it is a compulsory act as well. And in the lift of where we stay, it's actually being coated. It's actually being coated a certain chemical so that whoever that press the lift, whichever virus will not infect the sick person. So the lift buttons are safe. You don't have to use like what the internet says, right? Internet says you can use cotton cover to touch the lip gloss and then you throw it away, or it doesn't happen here.
Right now, Singapore is taking itself, and I'm sure it is kind of equipping itself, trying to contain the virus, trying to really make sure is not happening. It's all contained, so that when we really come back, because I think it's a little while more before we open, the borders out there, before we actually get back to back into tourism. It's a little more longer to that phase, but right now I think Singapore is doing everything to make sure that yes, this virus is contained and there's no spike in the infection. So is what I understand. So thank you, Celestia. Thank you so much for
joining
us on that. And it's been wonderful talking to all our speakers. Such amazing takebacks. Yes, to be hopeful. We've heard our speakers. Yes, it's time to kind of introspect, look inwards. We heard Mr. Ajay Bansal saying that it's always about looking at each other, taking a lot of inspiration, hanging together. We have Dr. Renuka saying that yes, being more conscious about sanitization, more hygiene is going to be the new normal. We have, Shezaan say that yes, it's kind of, it's a little more longer away to put everything back into your consciousness. But yes, gradually it's going to happen. We have Komal talk about how packaged foods are going to be more with better health labels and more towards building health and immunity. So we've got our amazing speakers. We have Mr. Ramana talking about how hospitals are, how to keep motivated their own team. Doctors are passionate people. So thank you all of you. So friends, you've just heard that. There's amazing mindset that we've seen amongst our panelists. And I hope you've been able to take all of that with you. Be curious, be open, be determined, and moreover, be ready for an all new world. That is what is going to enable us, empower us, and equip us to move on to turn every challenge into an opportunity. So all the best with your challenges and a bigger best of luck for all your opportunities. Thank you, speakers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sangita, for having us over. It was absolutely a great
pleasure. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for sharing. Nice meeting you. Stay safe.
To all of you, and we are looking at more webinars, more greater discussions. Make sure that you're tagging us on your Insta handle. It'll be amazing, to build this community, to build this network, a web talk. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Stay home. Stay safe, ladies and gentlemen.